Harris,
we made it.
Turning into a trilogy of sorts. It's year in and year out, Cavs Warriors.
A trilogy? Try whatever the 4 version of a trilogy is. A quadrilogy? I'm not really sure what that's called. But yes, Cavs, Warriors 4, the 4th straight year that we've had these teams in the finals. The first time in NBA history we've had 4 straight finals of the same 2 teams. As we know, last year, Warriors took down the Cavs in 5 games. And then the year before, if I haven't said enough on NBA Weekly, it's a crime. The Cavaliers came back from being 3-1 down to defeat the Warriors. Did I tell you that the Warriors were up 3-1 and then lost to the Cavs? And LeBron James, and then blew Game 7 at home. I feel like I don't mention enough that the Warriors blew a 3-1 lead in the finals then lost Game 7 at home. Yeah, that definitely happened. One of the best upsets in NBA history. But look, when it comes down to the NBA Finals, this is going to be another really fun year. We see this Cavs team as more of an amoeba than an overall talent team. They can kind of adjust to whatever matchup they need because, again, LeBron James is the most versatile player in the history of basketball. But I think it comes down to 3 big questions for the Cavs and the Warriors. And we'll start with the Cavs and their 2 biggest questions. A, how much does LeBron have left in the tank after playing the most minutes in the NBA this year? He's playing the most minutes in the playoffs of any player so far. And his overall just efficiency this year is also up. He's actually putting up the 4th best finals in NBA history right now in terms of player efficiency rating. And then the second big question for the Cavs, how much would a loss affect LeBron's legacy? Now, we've seen a lot on Twitter the past couple days of saying if LeBron makes it to the finals of this team, it's his greatest accomplishment. Well, no, that's not true. His greatest accomplishment was coming back from 3-1 down against the Warriors in 2016, a team that won the most games or tied for the most regular season wins in NBA history. So, look, with the Cavs, it really does come down to what is LeBron going to be able to do in this series in terms of his overall energy, and how are the Cavs going to adjust their offensive and defensive game plans as the series goes on. We saw with the Pacers that they had to change things up on a game-to-game basis. They knew exactly how to beat the Raptors, but once the Celtics series came around, they figured out that they needed to surround LeBron with a more veteran-based team. They couldn't have defensive liabilities in terms of a Jordan Clarkson out there or even a Larry Nance who's having issues. What they had to do on the defensive side of the ball was just make sure that there's no holes. The Celtics love to attack the hole in your defense, the weak link, and they just made sure that there wasn't a specific guy out there. So now it will be up to Tyronn Lue to make sure that the Cavs can adjust again to what will end up being the best team, obviously, that they have faced all season long. I do wonder, though, how good this Warriors team really is, because they've struggled a lot more this postseason and in the season in general than a lot of people have expected. But that Kevin Love injury is going to bode really, really huge for this finals.
There. Yep, absolutely. And, you know, it's interesting. I was going through the papers this morning, and one article I read said, quote, "This is the NBA's best team facing off against its best player."
Again,
you agree with that?
Again, absolutely. For the 4th consecutive time, we're getting the best player versus the best team. And as of right now, the best team has a 2-1 advantage over the best player. Look, the Cavs have never had a better team than the Warriors in any of the finals that they've faced off in. It hasn't been close. They have not had the star power or the shooting ability. The only time you maybe could have argued that they had as good of a team was in 2015, but it didn't matter because both Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love were out. So that didn't even matter. Obviously, in 2016, the Warriors were a way better team. LeBron James just put up maybe the best individual NBA finals of any player that we had ever seen. And then last year, the Warriors were maybe the greatest team ever assembled. So I think with the Warriors, though, we need to ask a real question. Are the Warriors worse than we think? Because, look, I understand that the Rockets were a really good matchup, and, you know, they've kind of lazy through the rest of the postseason, but we've seen a lot of issues for this Warriors team overall. They don't have a lot of depth in terms of their wings, so they lose Andre Iguodala. They have no one to replace him with. So now Swaggy P, Nick Young is getting a ton of minutes. Patrick McCaw is having to get a lot of minutes. I mean, they have 4 centers on their bench, 3 of which they just can't play in JaVale McGee and also with David West, and they don't really have a spot for Jordan Bell either, though they used them a little bit last year just to set screens and play a little defense. But I think this Warriors team, in terms of their overall roster and what we've seen with their performance this postseason, I just don't think this Warriors team is, quote-unquote, as good as we think they are. I think they're an elite team. I think they're incredible, and I think they're going to win the finals. But we came into this year thinking that this was going to end up being the greatest basketball team ever assembled. And I don't think they are that. I think they have holes on the defensive side of the ball. I think they get off to weird, slow starts all the time, and they bank on the fact that they're going to put up an incredible third quarter. And I also think, again, like I said, their bench is bad, and they do not have enough wing players to actually go up against what the Cavs are going to be able to throw at them. The Cavs have an abundance of wing guys in terms of Kyle Korver can play on the wing, Jeff Green, and obviously LeBron James. So if Andre Iguodala doesn't come back until Game 3, I don't think he's going to be back for Game 1, but we'll see. It's going to be a big-time question. How are the Warriors going to play defense against the Cleveland Cavaliers as the series goes on? Because in theory, the Cavs actually match up okay to the Warriors this year, better than in years past, actually. I like what they have down low with Larry Nance and Tristan Thompson. They've been playing really good basketball recently. George Hill is good enough defensively to cover Steph Curry. I think J.R. Smith versus Klay Thompson will probably be one of the biggest defensive mismatches in the history of basketball, as it is every single year.
Fair to say, yeah.
But it's really going to come down to LeBron versus Kevin Durant again, and that's what made the series last year. I love LeBron James. I think he's the best player in basketball. Kevin Durant completely outplayed him in 5 games last year, regardless of the stats that LeBron put up. Kevin Durant was the best player on the court last series, and I think that's what is going to determine this year as well. Can LeBron James overcome the defense of Kevin Durant, and can he will this Cavs team to victory again? I just wonder how much he has left in the tank. 8 straight finals. He's played the equivalent of 2 whole extra NBA seasons over the past 8 years, which is just ridiculous. He's played 10 seasons in 8 years. So I wonder when the clock is finally going to strike midnight for LeBron in terms of his overall energy. I can't believe what we've been able to see him do. This is bionic. This is robot levels of energy. I don't know how this is possible.
You know, Harris, we got some fast facts here for you guys. Here are a couple others. The Warriors opened up as minus 1,000 favorites to win this series, the largest in 16 years. The Warriors opened up as 12-point favorites in Game 1, tied for the largest point spread in an NBA Finals game since 1991. Number 1 song in 1991, Harris.
What?
Everything I Do It For You, Bryan Adams. We got to go back that far.
I do it for
well, historical context there. So, I mean, LeBron and the Cavs are playing the underdog role.
They are playing the underdog role. And I think that going into this series, going into the playoffs in general, I underrated this overall Cavs team, just not in terms of their talent. Their talent is still pretty weak. But I think we all underestimated the versatility of this roster. They've had a really interesting ability to morph into whatever LeBron James needs them to do. Do they need them to be 3-point shooters? They have the ability to do that. Do they need to defend a little bit better on the perimeter? They have the players to do that. Do they need to play better on the post in terms of defense and also offensive rebounding? They have the players for that. So they can kind of change and kind of go with whatever LeBron needs them to be as the series goes on. But they got to win a game in the first 3 games. They cannot go down 3-0, obviously. But if the Cavs can get one of the first 2 games and steal a game in Golden State, this could go to 6 or 7. But to be totally honest, Cam, I still don't see it. I've constantly talked about how the Cleveland Cavaliers are one of the worst defensive teams to have ever made an NBA Finals ever. And they are. This is actually the first time in NBA history where a team that ranked in the bottom 3 of defensive ratings has made it all the way to the NBA Finals. And that's just a testament to how incredible LeBron James is. And we had a question up there before. How much would a Finals loss affect LeBron's legacy? You know, he would fall to 3-6 in the finals, you know, back-to-back finals losses. I personally think that he gets the benefit of the doubt for this year, simply because this Cavs team just doesn't have a ton of talent on it, and he has been so incredible this year. I think that this is the one finals that he's going to get a pass for just because the team around him is so bad. I have the Warriors winning in 5. I just cannot see the Cavs overcoming the lack of offense that they're going to be able to put up this series. And just who is going to cover Klay Thompson? Like, Kyle Korver and J.R. Smith versus Klay Thompson?
At least not well.
We saw James Harden, who I know isn't a great defender, but he's still an NBA superstar. He could do nothing against Klay Thompson almost for the entire series. Then Steph Curry got hurt, and it was over. I think that we're going to see a very interesting series from the Cavs. I think we're going to see LeBron James maybe average a triple-double again, but I just cannot see the Cavs winning this series.
Yeah, I don't either, Harris. I'm going Golden State as well, extending it a little bit. 6 games in this series. I think LeBron will have a couple of LeBron games, carry the team, get a couple wins, extend things out.
I also want to – I referenced this before, and I just kind of passed over it. I got to say this again. LeBron James, as of right now, is putting up the 4th best postseason performance in NBA history. So the Cavs are going into this finals with the 4th best player in playoff history, which it's just wild to me at the age of 33, after all the minutes that LeBron has played, that he ranks that highly in efficiency. This has just been a special, special year for LeBron James.
It's Cavs. It's Warriors. It's Game 1 Thursday, 9 o'clock Eastern Time.